Hi guys, I'm Annabelle and welcome to Meeple Village. Today I'm going to show you how to play Heroes of Dominaria. This board game is set in the world of Magic the Gathering, and we're going to be taking the roles of heroes and using Planeswalker abilities to complete goals and gain victory points. This is a resource management game and we're going to be collecting mana to build different structures. But why don't you just join me at the table and I'll show you how to play Heroes of Dominaria. Okay, let's check out the board and the components and how to set those up. Here's the map. It has all the locations to which we're going to be traveling, and we're going to be going through to the locations through these dashed lines. Those are our travel lines. And if you're a Magic the Gathering player, you are going to recognize most of these locations, if not all. Now, we also have 5 different public goals. These are goals that can be completed by any player. And the first 2 players that complete one of these goals, or some of these goals, are going to earn victory points. For example, if you complete the Prismatic Domain, it's completed when the quest is completed when you've built all of your manaliths. The first player to build all of their manaliths, which you're going to see later, gets 10 victory points. The second player to do so gets 7 victory points. If there's a third or even a fourth player that completes these goals, they get no points. Now let's look at the different decks in the game that you're going to be using. First, this is the Heroes of Dominaria deck, and this is going to be used every turn to populate the board with more resources. Then we have the Artifact deck, and these are powerful artifacts that are going to give you some kind of ability, skill, power that is going to help you in the game. And last but not least, we have the Quest deck. And quests are objectives that you're going to be fulfilling to earn victory points. And they'll also give you rewards that are going to help you, maybe some more mana, maybe another quest when you complete this one. So keep an eye on those. Those are the main ways that you're going to be making points. Now, this is the supply. Over here we have the artifacts, and you can tell that they match the deck of artifacts. These are the cabals. They're the bad guys. They're the guys we want to defeat. And if you defeat, the more you defeat, the more points you're going to get. These little tokens are related to specific quests. So some quests are going to ask you to use them to keep track of how you're doing in the quest. And finally, this is the mana pool. These are the resources that we're going to be using to build our structures, etc., so that we can complete goals. Now, something else you need to do is set up your round marker. It looks very cool when you place it there. It actually takes up the shape of the track. So you're just going to move it. If you are playing a 4-player game, you're going to play to 9 rounds. If you're playing a 3-player game, you're going to go to 10 rounds. And in a 2-player game, you go all the way to 11 rounds. Also, you're going to, after you decide who you're going to play as, you're going to put your character token in the score track. Now, the score track goes all the way to 50. If you pass 50, all you're going to do is flip your token around from here to here and continue moving along the score track. The last thing we're going to do for setup is populate the board. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to take our mana tokens and we're going to match the locations on the board one by one until we have 1 mana in every location. Now, I will point out that there's a variant in the game rules, right at the end of the game rules, that says that you can start the game with 2 manas at each location. And I myself consider this variant a lot more interesting because you're going to get more interesting turns with a lot more stuff to do once you have more mana. But it's up to you how you want to play it. I'll let you decide. The next step is to pick a character. Now there are 4 characters to pick from, each in different color and each associated with a different Planeswalker. If you want to learn a little bit more about your Planeswalker, just turn this over and you're going to have a little story of everybody. You can pick from Karn, Teferi, Jahoira, or Chandra. In this game, I'm going to be showing you how to set up with Chandra. Now, First thing you're going to do is you're going to place all of your pieces on the game board. And these are the spots for your heroes. Then you have spots for your manaliths. And then you have spots for your ley lines. And this one is going to remain empty for now. So go ahead and fill up everything up. This is what your board will look like when you're finished setting everything up. You're going to start with one player in a 3 or a 4-player game. In a 2-player game, you're going to start with 2 heroes on the board. Now, you're going to start on one of the starting locations, which has a yellow ring around it. So this is not a starting location, that is not a starting location, but Orvada is a starting location. If you are playing with the 2 players, then what's going to happen is the first player will put one of their guys out, then the second player will put 2 of their guys out, and then the first player will put their last guy out, their second guy out. Kind of like a snake. Now, the last thing you're going to do after that is you're going to collect your mana tokens, and you're going to see what those do in a minute. But just know there's 5, all in different colors. And also you're going to receive 4 different quests. You're going to take a look at those. You're going to pick the 2 that you like the best, and the other 2 you're going to put back at the bottom of the quest deck. And that completes player setup. So let's go over the steps in a turn. The first thing that happens in every player's turn is the mana phase. During the mana phase, we're going to go to the Dominaria deck and reveal a card. If you look at the bottom, you'll see a symbol of a color that is a mana symbol. In this case, we got the white sun. So we're going to replenish every location that has white mana. There's 4 locations of every color. Just grab 4 mana from the supply and find your 4 white locations on the map and refill those, or add 1 mana to each location. Now we move on to the action step, and this is the meat and bones of the game. This is where you're going to be doing cool things to make you a better hero. The first one we're going to talk about is your move action. In order to know how many movement steps you have, all you have to know is that it's +1 the number of spaces you have revealed already. So in this case, for this hero, he's got 2 movement space. 1 + 1 that you get from the beginning of the game. 2 movement space. You can spread those around or use them in the same hero. You can also interrupt movement. For example, I can move my hero 1, do a different action, and then move my hero again for a total of 2 movements. The next action that we're going to talk about is collect mana. Now this action you can only do once per turn. So for example, let's say that I move 1 and then I want to collect mana. I could collect mana from the place where I'm at, or if I have a ley line, which we'll talk about later, you can collect mana from the place where the ley line is connected to, as long as it's connected to your hero. So probably a better idea is to collect those 3 mana instead of just 1 that I will get at Caligo. The next thing we're going to talk about is Planeswalker abilities. Now those are really cool and they are stated right on your player's board. So we're going to go through those one by one. In order to use the abilities, you have to pay mana. The first ability we're going to look at is the white ability, which lets you recruit another hero. In order to do that ability, you have to pay 4 mana of any color. For example, these 4 manas, and a white mana, as depicted in the symbol there. Then you'll take your hero from the leftmost part of your board, and you're going to place it in a starting location, which again are the yellow locations. Once you do that, you immediately get another movement point, another movement action, because now you have 2 reveal locations plus the one that you started the game with. Also, you might get some kind of reward. In this case, we're going to get a new quest. See how that symbol corresponds to the quest deck. It's easy to remember what your reward is. The next ability uses the blue mana, and it is revealing and collecting an artifact. For example, I could move my hero here where there's an artifact, and I will have to pay 3 mana of any color, let's say a blue, a black, and a white, and a blue mana. If I do that, I get to collect an article. When I collect an article, I look at the top 2 cards of the articles deck, I choose the one I want, and the other one goes back to the bottom of the deck. So 1 in my hand, 1 in the bottom of the deck. I can immediately place that in my in-play area and use the abilities right away. The next Planeswalker ability we're going to talk about is defeating the bad guys, the cabals. In order to do that, you need to be at a place where there's a cabal. For example, I could move my hero twice, 1, 2, so I have now 3 movement actions. And if I pay a black mana and 2 manas of any other color, I can defeat them. I take them and I put it on my board. If I cover a reward, I get the reward immediately. In this case, again, I will be getting another quest, going to the quest deck, picking 2 cards, looking at them, keeping 1 and putting the other in the bottom of the deck. And that's how that works. The next Planeswalker ability is building manaliths. And these are really cool and very important. In order to build a manalith, I could do it anywhere where I have a hero. I pay 1 red mana and 4 manas of any other color, including maybe red. And I pick the leftmost one. Again, I might reveal a reward if that's the case. Now you know what to do. And I can put this anywhere. Now, here's the important thing. You can only have a manalith in a location of different colors. So I wouldn't be able to build my manalith here because I already have a blue manalith in a blue location, but I could put it on a white location, a red location, or a green location. As long as you build that, you get a reward, and that is that you're going to permanently have a mana token of the color that you built. So let's say that I built it here in Kiev. I will get a green mana token at the end of every turn. Now, if I don't use the token during my turn, I don't have another green token, so I just don't get the token again. So make sure that when you're using mana, you make sure you use those tokens during your game first, because you're going to be getting them back at the end of the turn. I'll get a green mana token again, ready to be used on my next turn. The last Planeswalker ability that we're going to talk about is building ley lines, those little roads. And you already kind of saw what they're used for. When you build a ley line, you can collect mana that is connected to your ley lines. And I want to make sure I point out that you can even collect mana if you are far, far away. Actually, this is only 2 locations. Let's make it 3 locations. So I can collect mana all the way from Caligo because it will travel through my ley lines all the way to me. And now, those are all the Planeswalker abilities. If I want to build a ley line, it tells me right here, it's 1 green mana and 2 manas of any other color, maybe even 2 more green manas, or I can mix and match. But the important thing is that I always have to pay the color indicated here. So those are the Planeswalker abilities. What else can you do on your turn? Well, you can also use an artifact effect. For example, if I had this artifact and I wanted to go get that artifact over there, I can pay 2 mana of any color and a blue to discover it, instead of paying the regular 3 and a blue. So I just pay 2 and a blue, and the artifact is all mine. The last thing you can do on your turn is complete a quest. Whenever you have done something to complete a quest, then you can just claim that quest. For example, if I was going to collect that artifact, I actually have a quest that wants me to collect that artifact using black mana and a green mana. Now remember, I had that power that let me just use 2 and a blue. So if I paid for the artifact with this mana, I would have completed this quest, and I would put it on my completed quest area and score it at the end of the game. And that is all that you can do during your action phase. After you've completed all the actions you want to take, then the next player can have their turn, following first the mana phase and then their action phase. Let's go through a turn so you can have a better idea of the game flow. So I'm going to be playing in a game that's already been started. I'm on round 3, as you can tell here with the round track marker. And I am the orange player. I already have 2 manaliths built and some ley lines. I have 2 heroes out on the board, as does my opponent. He's already built some stuff as well. Now, at the beginning of my turn, the first thing that happens, before I tell you, I go there, I just want to point out, because of my 2 manaliths, one in the white location and one in the green location, at the end of my turn last time, I got 2 mana tokens. You're going to see me using those, so that's why I wanted to point that out. Okay, now, at the beginning of my turn, first thing that happens is we're going to flip a Dominaria card, and it is blue, so we're going to go ahead and grab 4 blue mana tokens. Okay, we'll put those on the board. Okay, now the next thing that's going to happen is I'm going to trigger one of my abilities from my artifacts. My max pearl says that at the beginning of my turn I can add a white mana to my mana pool. So I'll go ahead and grab a white mana and add it to my mana pool, which is out here. Now, for my turn, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move. I have 1 + 1 that is revealed, 2 movements that I can take. I'm going to go ahead and move this hero to the Howling Sea. And I cannot collect the mana there because there's a cabal. So I have to first defeat him. So I'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to pay 1 black mana and 2 manas of any color. I'm going to use my mana tokens. Put that back in the supply. And I collect the token. I'm going to be covering a quest, so I would take the top 2 quests, look at them, keep 1, and put the other one at the bottom. Now, I'm going to trigger my Blessed Light. My Blessed Light says that you complete the quest if you have 4 or more cabal tokens, and I have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to put that in my completed quest side, and my reward is that I get 3 white mana. So I'm going to go ahead and get my 3 white mana. There it is. Put it into my mana pool. And last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and move with my second movement action to Cersei, so that I'm ready to collect. Now I have a choice. I can collect at Cersei or I can collect at Howling Sea. I can only collect once during my turn, so I need to make a decision. Looking at my mana pool, I have a lot of white mana, so I'm going to go ahead and collect at the Howling Sea. And that's going to end my turn for now. So for this turn, and at the end of my turn, I get back my 2 mana tokens. So you can see that I'm set up for next turn to do big things. At the end of the game, you're going to score points for all of your completed cards. That includes public quests, private quests, and any artifacts that have been scored. Also, you will add the points from any artifacts in play. Only artifacts, quests that are in play are not scored at the end of the game. In your player board, you're going to score the rightmost space that is uncovered in your hero, manalith, and leyline track. Finally, you're going to add the points that are rightmost and covered by a cabal token. So you're going to add the points that are under the token. And that's how you gain all of your points. Add those up, and if you have the most points at the end of the last round, you are the winner. Well guys, I hope this video has helped you navigate through the world of Heroes of Dominaria, and it's helped you to understand how to play the game. If you'd like to see a full run through of the game, just leave me a comment below and we'll get right through it. Until then, may you game more.